The most famous learning technique on the internet has a hole in the middle of it, and I say that as somebody who used it wrong for years. The Feynman technique. Explain the thing simply, find your gaps, repeat until you actually understand. And it's genuinely a good idea, it's just missing half. And that missing half takes a second brain in the room. But the cool thing is that you've got one open in another tab right now. Give me 8 minutes and by the end you'll have the exact words to set it up. First, respect where it's due. Richard Feynman won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1965, and people called him the Great Explainer. The man could take quantum mechanics and make a freshman feel it in their bones. He had this bit about how you can know the name of a bird in every language on Earth and still know absolutely nothing about the bird. And that's really the spirit of the whole technique. Knowing the thing instead of just knowing what it's called. And the internet version goes like this. Pick a concept, explain it like you're teaching a kid, notice where you get stuck, and then go patch those spots and try again. I want to be clear that the idea is genuinely great, but that's exactly why the broken part matters. Because think about what actually happens when you try it. You sit down alone and you explain gravity or interest rates or whatever it is to an empty room, and it feels amazing. I've done this so many times. You talk for 2 minutes, the words come out smooth, and you go, yeah, I've got this. Then a week later, a real person asks you one actual question and the whole thing folds like a card table because the entire time, nobody was pushing back. When you explain something to nobody, you just steer around your own weak spots without ever noticing you're doing it. You're grading your own homework, and the answer key is the exact thing you're missing. And sure, the technique says to notice where you get stuck, and you'll catch a few gaps that way, but the dangerous ones are the ones that felt fine while you were talking. And Feynman himself never had this problem. Look at where the man worked. Los Alamos and later Caltech, rooms packed wall to wall with physicists. And the culture in those rooms was that nobody let a shaky step slide, his included. That was the other half of the method, a room that talks back. And when the internet turned it into a poster, it kept the notebook and lost the hecklers. So when you run the technique alone at your desk, you're cosplaying half of what he did. Well, you have a room that talks back now, and it lives in your pocket. It'll heckle you at 2 a.m. if that's when you study. So let's rebuild the technique with AI in the loop piece by piece. Fix 1. Stop explaining to an empty room. Open your AI and teach it the concept, type her out loud, and set it up with this. I'm going to explain a topic to you. Play a curious beginner. Interrupt me when a step doesn't follow and keep asking me why until we hit the bottom of what I know. The last part is the really important part, because a real beginner gives up politely and this one won't. If you've seen my self-education video, this is the interrogation loop with the training wheels off. Now you're teaching a student with zero social pressure to nod along, which is a completely different activity from explaining to the empty room. Fix 2 happens after you finish explaining. Feeling smooth means nothing. We need a grade. So when you're done, hand it this. Grade that explanation like a tough professor. Where did I hand wave? Where did I use a term I didn't earn? Ask me the 3 questions most likely to expose what I don't actually understand. The first time I tried that on something I was sure about, I didn't make it past the second question. And it stings, honestly, but the sting is the useful part. You know how your squat looks fine in the bathroom mirror, and then somebody films it from the side and you're a good 3 inches high? The grade is the side angle. Fix 3. Now fix 3 is where the old technique gets vague on you and just says, go study your gaps. Study them where, for how long, with what? So let's make it specific. Every question you missed becomes a target, and you tell the AI, teach me exactly this missing piece. Then make me explain it back to you until it holds. Then, and this matters, you go back and re-explain the whole concept from the top, gap included, not just the patch, because understanding is going to live in the connection between the parts, and the new piece has to get welded in while everything else is still warm. Fix number 4. The part Feynman never wrote down because he never needed to. His building did it for him. Whatever you rebuilt today starts leaking by tomorrow. That's just how memory works. So tomorrow morning, one small ritual. Tell the AI, quiz me on what I taught you yesterday. 3 questions and don't go easy on me. This takes 2 minutes with your coffee. It's just one document in the same little morning routine every day. A week later, if you can still give the explanation, you know it's stuck. Now, don't take my word for any of this. Test it tonight. Pick one thing you would bet money you understand. Your job, maybe a hobby you've had for years. Just do the first 2 fixes on it. That's literally all, and it'll take you about 20 minutes. If you can come out clean, incredible. You actually know your thing. And honestly, you should make videos about it. But if you're anything like me, somewhere around the second question, you'll feel the floor start to move. And that feeling is worth more than 100 smooth explanations to your empty room, because now you know exactly where to dig. The Feynman technique has been waiting a long time for its other half to show up. So yes, explain simply, but explain it to something that actually pushes back, get graded, weld the gaps in, and quiz it a day later or is going to evaporate. Feynman got his pushback from a building full of physicists. You get yours from the thing in your pocket, any hour you want it. Drop a comment with the topic you'd bet money you understand, and if you put it through the loop, come back and tell me whether it survived, because I genuinely want to know. I'm Des, I test this stuff on myself before I ever put it in a video, and you get whatever the receipts say. Subscribe for the next one. Let's build.